You're sitting across from her at a café on a Saturday afternoon. For the past 2 weeks, she's been the one texting first, matching your energy, sending those little emoji-heavy replies like she can't wait to talk to you. But right now, in person, she's glancing around the room, spinning her cup slowly. Her answers keep getting shorter. You can feel it, this low current tension in the air, but you can't name it. Have you ever been in that exact moment, watching a girl text you back with emojis just an hour ago, but the second you're actually in front of each other, her vibe feels completely frozen? Why does it feel like you're playing a game where she's already holding the rule book, and you're just guessing? Here's what most men get wrong about that moment. They assume something broke. They think she lost interest, or worse, that they did something wrong. What's actually happening isn't about interest going up or down. It's a biological process she isn't even fully aware of. Her brain is running what psychologists call subconscious recalibration, a split-second, below-conscious scan of your emotional baseline. She's not bored. She's not distracted. She's measuring you, specifically. Whether her silence, her slightly cooled energy, her shorter answers, whether any of that makes you wobble, will you start over-talking to fill the gap? Will you ask if she's okay every 30 seconds? Or will you just sit there, grounded? That distinction between a man who gets rattled and a man who doesn't is the entire game in those first moments. And the reason most men fail that test is because they don't even know they're being tested in the first place. Look, I've been that man. Sitting in a dimly lit bar, watching her energy drop mid-conversation, and my brain instantly switched into fix-it mode. I started over-explaining, throwing out longer jokes, ordering another round nobody asked for. Why? Because when men sense a drop in her interest, our brains misread it as a threat, a problem to be solved. So we do what we're wired to do. We chase. Psychologists call it the dopamine chase. The moment her attention dips, your brain triggers an almost involuntary scramble to win it back. You start performing. Harder, louder, more. And the whole time, you think you're being charming. You're not. You're signaling panic. Here's where the real thinking error lives. Most men operate on a belief that more effort equals more chemistry. She goes quiet, you talk more. She pulls back, you lean in harder. She gives you one-word answers, you send a paragraph back. It feels logical. It is completely backwards. Most guys, sensing that drop, would text something like, "Hey, are you okay? You seem a bit quiet tonight. Did I say something wrong?" That message isn't sweet. It's an emotional liability report. You've just handed her a full inventory of your anxiety. The grounded move, you don't reach, you don't fix. You lean back, literally, and let the silence breathe on its own. When you increase effort in response to her withdrawal, you don't create attraction. You confirm her instinct to pull back further. That panic doesn't stay contained to one bar, one night. It follows you onto your phone, and it shows up in a behavior so subtle, 99% of men don't even recognize it as a test when it's happening to them. You sent her a text at 2 p.m., something genuinely funny, the kind of story that lands every time in person. You won't believe the crazy story that just happened at my office. She sees it immediately. You watch the read receipt tick over. 7 hours later, your phone buzzes. Cool. One word. No follow-up. No question back. And your first instinct is to rationalize it. She's probably just busy. She'll explain when we meet up. So you fire back instantly. The full story loaded. Yeah, so basically my boss walked in and that instant reply cost you. Because her one-word text isn't a sign she's busy. It's a low-stakes probe. She's checking whether your time has a price tag or whether you'll come running the moment she tosses you a single syllable. When you reply to cool with a paragraph, you've answered that question. The move that actually holds value, you mirror the energy and nothing more. A short reply or none at all. Let the thread breathe. Your silence communicates that your attention isn't available on a 5-second discount. Most guys feel that buzz and drop everything to reply before the notification screen even goes dark. The ones who don't, who match the pace instead of chasing it, are the ones she ends up texting first by the next morning. But surviving the text thread is just the warm-up. The moment you walk into the restaurant, the digital test upgrades to real-time body language. You're walking together after dinner. You close the distance slightly, a natural move toward intimacy. She doesn't step away, but she shifts her bag to the hand between you. A small thing, easy to miss, easy to misread. Most men at this moment either force the contact, reaching for her shoulder, manufacturing a reason to touch, or they freeze up and ask something like, "Are you cold?" which only makes the air thicker. Both responses come from the same place, the need to resolve her withdrawal immediately on your terms. True control is not about manipulating her choices, it's about becoming the calm anchor that grounds her emotional chaos. What's actually driving that small physical pullback isn't dislike. It's short-term internal turbulence, nerves, evaluation, a momentary wall she may not even be conscious of. This is sensory resonance in practice. You don't push into her space, and you don't retreat from it either. You slightly slow your pace, drop your voice just half a register, and you redirect the conversation entirely. Look at that building over there. The architecture is wild, completely unrelated to the tension, completely unbothered by it. When she sees that her emotional weather doesn't move your baseline, the bag shifts back on its own. Not because you engineered it, because you gave her nervous system nothing to defend against. A man who reaches for manipulation techniques when she pulls back is just proving he can't handle her without a script. The calm anchor doesn't need one, but once you've held steady through the physical distance, she reaches for something more direct, a weapon that has no body language attached to it. Just dead air, eye contact, and 5 seconds that feel like a full minute. The food's still on the table. You just finished telling a story. She doesn't respond. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't even look away. She holds eye contact, takes a slow sip of her drink, and lets the music in the background fill all that empty space. 5 seconds, maybe 6, and every instinct you have screams at you to say something. Oh, by the way, did I tell you about my dog? That's the trap. And she didn't even have to set it consciously. What she's running is subconscious mirroring defense, an unspoken pressure test. The silence isn't awkward for her. She's comfortable in it. The question is whether you are. When you panic and fill that silence with something, anything, you've just told her that her stillness has power over you. That social discomfort is enough to make you fold. The man who holds the room holds the silence. You look back. Slight smile. You pick up your glass, and you wait. No explanation. No filler. No performance. The person who can sit in silence without needing to escape it is the one controlling the conversation, even when nobody's talking. She'll feel that, and she'll remember it longer than anything clever you said all night. Once silence can't shake you, the test goes somewhere new, somewhere with higher stakes, and a very specific ask attached to it. You've already booked the reservation. Good restaurant. 7 p.m. A place you actually put thought into. 20 minutes before you leave to pick her up, she texts, "I'm not really in the mood for steak. Can we just do sushi instead? The sushi place is twice as far." The reservation took effort, and the ask came out of nowhere. Most guys read this as flexibility, as a chance to be the easygoing, low-maintenance guy she'll appreciate. So they fold immediately. "Sure, babe. Whatever makes you happy, let's do sushi." She doesn't appreciate that. She clocks it. This is micro-boundary testing, and it almost never has anything to do with actual food preferences. It's a last-minute check to see whether your frame is something she can quietly bend with a single text, or whether it holds. When you say yes to every redirect, you're not being a gentleman. You're demonstrating that your plans, and by extension your decisions, have no real weight behind them. Reservation's already locked in for tonight. Let's stick to the plan. We'll hit that sushi spot next time. That's it. No negotiation. No apology for having a plan. You're not dismissing her. You're showing her that your word means something, even on small things, especially on small things. And when she realizes that the one-on-one dynamic can't be redirected by a casual ask, the final test moves somewhere more exposed, somewhere with an audience. Your mid-date, conversation flowing, and she glances toward the server who just came by. He's actually kind of cute, right? Or maybe it's not the server. Maybe it's a name. This guy from my office, he's honestly so impressive. And she watches your face when she says it. This is triangulation tactics, and it's one of the most telling tests in the entire sequence. She's not trying to make you jealous in the soap opera sense. She's running a read on your self-concept. Specifically, does your sense of your own value change the moment she puts another man in the frame? The men who fail this either go cold and sulky for the rest of the night, or they fire back with something defensive. Why don't you just go date him then? Both reactions hand her exactly what she was measuring for. Proof that your ego is fragile enough to crack under a single offhand comment. The move that actually holds, you acknowledge it without flinching. Yeah, sounds like he knows his stuff. Good for him. Then you return to your own thread like the comment was background noise, because to a man who's genuinely secure, it is. When all 5 of these behaviors, from the dry text to the triangulation, get decoded in real time, the question stops being about how to keep up with her tests. It becomes about something much more fundamental to who you actually are in this dynamic. By now, you've seen the full map. The dry text, the shifted bag, the silence that dares you to blink first, the last-minute redirect, the name dropped at the table to see if your face changes. 5 behaviors. One consistent question underneath all of them. Do you need her to behave a certain way in order to stay grounded? This is where most men get the framework backwards. They treat these signals like puzzles to solve, like if they just respond correctly enough times, she'll finally relax and let the connection flow naturally. That's not how this works. The probability rule is simple. If a woman is running continuous withdrawal cycles and boundary tests despite your calm, consistent presence, that's not a phase. That's data. It means her interest level isn't where it needs to be for this to go anywhere real. And that information isn't a defeat. It's clarity. You don't control the interaction by forcing her to lock in. You control it by having the precise clarity to walk away when the alignment isn't there. Your boundary isn't a tactic. It isn't a technique you deploy to make her chase you. It's the clearest signal of your actual value, to her and to yourself. The man who can read the pattern, hold his frame through every test, and still choose to walk when the alignment is off, that's not losing the game. That's refusing to play one that was never worth your time. If you've ever missed signals like these in the past, the dry text, the silence, the last-minute redirect, drop a comment below. Trust me, we've all been there. But here's what's coming next. You've learned to hold your ground when she goes quiet, when she pulls back physically, when she drops another man's name at the table. What happens when the attack isn't indirect anymore? What if she looks you straight in the face, in front of your friends, and says something that sounds like a compliment, but lands like a knife? You're so funny. You're like the little brother I never had. Most men laugh it off or go cold. Both responses burn the entire frame to the ground, and she knows it the second it happens. Neutralizing that move requires a completely different psychological mechanism. And that's exactly what we're breaking down next.